Hello, fellow Octa children. Today we are going to talk about template projects. They will vastly improve your workflow and overall make you want to pull your hair out much less. My name is Jude. I'm an Octa kid like you. You're tuning in to the Messy Desk.
Good job, dude. Okay, so as my handsome and incredibly intelligent Octa child has explained to you, we're going to talk about template projects today. And you might be wondering what exactly that means for the Octatrack. Specifically, maybe you use templates in your DAW. Maybe you're like me and open up Ableton or whatever your DAW is to 2 blank MIDI tracks and 2 blank audio tracks and go, this sucks, but I'm never going to take the time to change it, so I'll just complain about it. But nevertheless, the Octatrack, for all its beauty and bountiful gifts, is incredibly, incredibly tedious and annoying to use if you don't have a template project. If you just boot up a blank project every time you want to do something new, it'll be all static machines, all of the settings to whatever their default are. I don't even remember what they are at this point. Nothing on your scenes here. You have to make all your scenes from scratch. It's a disaster. But what you can do is make a new project and adjust the settings to exactly the way that you want it to open up every time you open up your Octatrack, every time you open up this project, and it'll make your life 1,000 times easier. So this video should be short and easy and bite-sized, like a little bite-sized snack. A little Hershey's kiss of a little Hershey's kiss, a little chocolate mwah from me to you, my Octa child. And we're just going to talk about the way that I have my template set up. And it's going to be different than yours because we have different needs. We're different people. I'm a grown man. I've been paying taxes. I'm real salt of the earth. A little bit of gray in my hair. I hate kids on my lawn. I watch the news all the time and I keep talking about how scared I am of youths. But you? I mean, you're a whole different animal, aren't you? Listening to Billie Eilish and the Kings of Leon. Kings of Leon and Hawthorne Heights.
Harry Styles.
And so your needs are going to be different than mine. But I think that mine will at least give you a good jumping off point for the kind of things that you can do with yours. So let's just get into it. So right off the bat, you'll see that 6 of my 8 tracks are flex machines. And that's because, surprise, surprise, they're what I use the most. A friend of mine likes to make fun of me because the Octatrack is such a beefy machine and can do such complex, cool stuff, but I kind of just use it like a fat Digitact most of the time. We'll say a large Digitact, no need to fat shame here. And he's not wrong. But it's the truth. It's what I do. So most of what I do is one-shot samples and sample slicing, and flex machines are the best for that. Something else is that I have track 8 set up to be my master, and it's been so long since I've done this, but I think you do it in project, control, and then audio, and then track 8 master instead of normal. And that allows you to do all the really fun crossfader scene stuff. I cannot imagine not having a master track. It would not make the Octatrack what it is for me. So your mileage may vary. You might decide, I don't know, I hate this fucking thing, or I don't want it to apply to every track, or whatever. You know, you might just need 8 tracks. So I have 6 flex tracks and then a through machine. And so the through machine handles the digatone, which is off screen, Oviond, and the peak, which is off screen, Oviond, and any other external synths I might want to hook up to this thing. You could obviously have multiple through machines and kind of separate your synths with different effects that way, but just because of the economy of the way I like to work, I just have everything on one track, and it works out fine for me most of the time. Hey, so editing Octadad here, it occurred to me that I didn't go into my MIDI setup at all, but it's super rudimentary. It's literally just channels 1 through 8 on tracks 1 through 8. I really have barely explored what you can do via MIDI. It took me forever to realize that you also have 3 LFOs per MIDI track, as well as the 3 LFOs per audio track. So it just goes to show you what I know in terms of the MIDI realm. But I thought that would definitely come up in the comments, so I figured I would address it here. Editing Dad out. So I have my tracks laid out in a pattern that is consistent to what I want to use every time I open this, which is track 1 and 2 are set to the default recording buffers. And the reason for that is I typically sample on tracks 1 and 2 and slice on tracks 1 and 2. And so I just like having easy access to that. On track 3, I have a kick drum, the same boring one I use all the time. Sometimes I switch it out. Most of the time I don't because I'm lazy and bad. Ditto for the clap here. And then I have a bass here. And this I leave blank. It's just kind of a flex slot for whatever I might need. Usually it ends up being a hi-hat, but sometimes it's sort of more abstract percussive elements like that. So on tracks 1 and 2, I have a filter and a lo-fi effect. Fairly sure that's the same. Oh, this should have been changed. I have a filter, and we'll leave that with a delay. I usually use track 2, whatever sample I slice. I usually end up using it more as like background texture, and the delay is really good for that. On track 3, I have a filter and a lo-fi. I have a lo-fi and a delay on the clap. On my through machine, I have a lo-fi and a dark reverb. A filter and a lo-fi. Are you sensing a pattern here? And then a filter and a delay. On track 7, just as, again, kind of a flex, I end up changing them a lot based on whatever gets put there. You can maybe make an argument that if I'm usually using this for percussive things or whatever, I might not need a filter since a lot of them are going to be in the higher frequency range to begin with. You know, but whatever. Delay can be fun with hi-hats, so there it is. And then on the master, I have a filter and dark reverb. So that's the effects, and that's super useful. Makes your life way easier. And then on my scenes here, I have 2 default scenes. It's defaulted to scene 14 here. And on scene 14, it's just a high-pass filter with a little bit of reverb. And then on scene 15, it's almost the same thing, just a low-pass with a little bit of reverb. Very basic transition stuff. Something I'm always going to want on every project that I don't really need to waste any time configuring between projects. Like no matter what I'm doing, that's going to work for me. You know, some of these complex scene breakdowns that I do, they're going to be very track specific, but these are going to be pretty widely applicable to whatever I do. Further on that, you can see I have my kick muted here and my bass muted here on both of these. And the reason for that is that I know in almost all instances, I'm going to want those tracks muted on those 2 scenes. So it just makes your life way easier. It just, you're there and then you're going. What else? I have the metronome defaulted to on because I need that. I have some recording setup stuff here. It's the same for every track. I don't really do enough fancy stuff with sampling and resampling at this point in my life to have many preferences for how those are set up. So they're just very basic. Click the button to sample the thing and be done with it. I should mention that once you've made your template project, you know, you've created your empty project, you've set everything to the way you want it, you want to save it. So function save project or project save or save to new, and you can name it whatever. I've named mine appropriately temp. A smart thing to do would be to name it like Z, so it's always at the bottom of your project list, or you could name it like 0, so it's always at the top. Whatever your preference is. An important thing to keep in mind is, let's say you turn on your Octatrack, you open up your template project, you start working on a track, it's a banger, it's a hit, all the girls are going to dance, all the boys are going to try not to dance, but still tap their foot and nod their head reluctantly. It's going to be on all the radio stations, it's going to make you millions. But you got to save it, right? So what do? You don't want to overwrite your template project. You just save to new, name it whatever, and there you go. Something will happen the next time you open your template project, because the Octatrack, I don't really know how this works, and I'll never learn. As we've established on this channel, I won't ever learn. But it does a thing wherein it will kind of automatically save what you're doing as you go. So the next time you open your template project, it's going to have all those changes you made that you've now saved to a new project still in place. You might think, oh God, my template is ruined, my beautiful, beautiful template. It's been soiled by my art. What a Shakespearean tragedy. I've made this beautiful piece of art, and yet it has soiled this pragmatic piece of equipment that I've designed for myself. Oh ye gods. It's not a big deal, man. Calm down. Take it easy. You're getting a little crazy. You should get out of the house more. I'm worried about you. All you gotta do is just hit project and reload. and it'll reload from your last saved state. So just make sure you save it at exactly the kind of thing that you want it to be, and then all you have to do is just reload it. Obviously, be careful when you're saving your new radio hit single that you hit save to new and not just save or function save project, because then you will overwrite your template and your works will have been destroyed, and no one likes that. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. Like I said, really quick, bite-sized video, little tiny baby video for you. If you have any additional thoughts on templates or additional things you could do to make a template more useful to your workflow or to anyone's workflow in general, let me know down in the comments. I have a bigger video on the way that is kind of similar to my first video, which is just me making a track from scratch, and I actually sample a track given to me by a patron. Stoked to say that I have a Patreon now, and you might think, this dude has 330 subs on YouTube, who would pay him money for content? The answer to that is like 2 people. 3 actually now. 3 people, and one of them is my mom. So it's pretty serious, you guys. But really, I have some cool stuff planned for it. You can watch videos early. You can get my music early. There's going to be sample packs that I've been wanting to release for a while. You could even take a lesson with me if you're crazy enough to want to do that. It's super neat. There's going to be a more full, detailed plug in the longer video that's coming out soon. But if you can contribute, I'd love to have your support, and I'd love to have your input on where to take this channel and what you'd like to see. All the money will go towards supporting my beautiful children and my gorgeous wife while we finish college, and hopefully get her a teaching job wherein she is not forced to risk her life for the economy. But that, my friends, is a talk for a different time. I'm Daniel. This is the Messy Desk. That's the Octatrack. This is us, now streaming on Hulu. All right, you guys. Have a good night. I'll be thinking of you. You better be thinking of me.